Hey, welcome to another episode of Live Feed. It's been a while since I've done this, but I wanted to do one on this very important topic. Allegedly, this woman committed suicide on, I believe, April 25th of this year. I don't think she committed suicide. I think someone killed her. And that's my opinion on that. And I'm going to be saying a lot of things, and some things may sound like I'm against what Virginia Giuffre went through, but it's just for entertainment purposes on this lady's side, on Virginia's side, and I just want to put that out there from Jump Street. She's a victim, she's a survivor, and she needs to be treated with respect. But that being said, it doesn't mean that we can't look into where this thing became derailed, and the thing being her beautiful life. So let's hear from her.
Probably a tomboy more than I was a princess until I was 7, and then that's the first time that I encountered sexual abuse.
So unfortunately, they started off young with her, and that's a shame.
I still connected with the horses really well, but my life just changed, and it diminished that light that was in me. And my mom has like the pre-videos and the after videos, and you can see where, in my life it took a different direction at such a young age.
If you're like me, you're probably wondering, who was this guy that abused her at 7 years old?
It was a family friend. I wouldn't want to talk about that any further.
Say what you want to say about Virginia, but she did the right thing here. You don't know how many times people will say that something did not happen after it truly did.
I was abused by a man, and he owned what he calls like an escort agency, but it was just, that's a horrible way to call it what it was. It was a sex trafficking industry, and that's when more abuse I endured.
What I like to know is, how old was she at this point?
I mean, the only problem I have in my life is pinpointing ages and times. Everything is just, it's so hard to exactly know. But I believe in my heart it was 13.
Damn, Gina! How did you escape that sex trafficking ring?
Well, I was more rescued than I was anything. The police barged in one morning and they took me out of there, and the person who did it ended up dying in jail.
Aww. With any luck, the same way Epstein went. Now, I heard you worked at Mar-a-Lago. What was that like?
I loved working at Mar-a-Lago.
Damn, Gina! Now, this really shows the idioticness of the right wing. Now, I'm sure that Virginia did not die a right winger, but in her early formative years, she was a right winger. Let me tell you a story. When I was a kid, her same age, I wanted to be a chef. And I could tell you right now that if anybody ever told me that I can make you be a chef, you can become a chef, I'm not going to believe a damn thing that they say. And you could say that's being pessimistic, and that's fine, but that right there is the truth. You just can't believe everything you hear, and you have to investigate, and when you're done, investigate. I know some of you with hard heads are probably thinking, I wonder if he wants us to investigate. And I'm not talking about the children. The children should too. We should teach our children that too. But I'm mostly talking about the parents. Parents are the ones that need to investigate. Here, gather around. Boys and girls, it's story time. So when I was a kid, like I said, I wanted to be a chef. We had a friend, his name was Frank, an old Italian guy, who said, well, if you want to be a chef, I'll be more than happy to teach you. And he worked in all the big hotels, Waldorf Astoria in New York, all these kind of hotels he worked in. And if he turned to my dad, I'm sure of this, if he turned to my dad and said, hey, I want your son to come over one day without you and I'm going to teach him cooking, my dad would have said, absolutely not. The man never did that, never asked me to come by myself to his house to learn how to cook. It was always, every time he showed me something, it was always with my parents there. It was always with supervised visits by my parents. And it's not something my parents did. It's just the way it worked out. But if he had asked, I want to take Richard under my wing, I want him to come over one day without you, my parents would have said absolutely not.
It made sense to me for the first time in my life. I never knew what I wanted to do or who I wanted to be, and it was so beautiful, it was so serene, it was so calm.
Sorry, Virginia, I doubt that very much. You were just young and couldn't see the truth, unfortunately.
I worked in the locker room attendance, which was in the spa area. So I saw these amazing women who were massage therapists, and they just had this aura about them that they were all put back together. They all seemed like the nicest people in the world, and they were calm and they were happy. And I wanted something like that for my life.
Wow, Virginia, why didn't your parents teach you that this profession that you want to get in is sometimes looked at in a negative way? There's happy endings and there's all kind of things that people go in thinking about this job when they get this type of job. I can't believe it.
For the first time in my life, I knew what I wanted to do. And I got a book about massage therapy and I started reading about it. I knew I was way too young to even start studying it, but I wanted to learn. I started investing my thoughts and my time into what I thought I wanted to be when I grew up.
I would probably say that's how 90% of the kids react when they realize this is what they want to do the rest of their lives. So what happened?
So I'm working at Mar-a-Lago and I'm reading that book that I was just telling you about, and I was approached by a very proper speaking English lady named Ghislaine Maxwell.
Dun, dun, dun.
And she approached me at the desk and she started talking to me about the book that I'm reading, and
don't believe the hype.
She just seemed very nice, and I didn't know what she was there for at the time. I do now, but
put your boots on, because this is where the bullshit starts.
She said, I've got a person that I know who's actually looking for a traveling masseuse. And if you want, I can get you an interview with him. I said to her, I was like, I'm not by any means licensed, or I've never, this is the first book I've read about it.
Now, before I give my opinion on this, I want to say again, we're not here to make Virginia the victim twice, okay? But this is the first thing that Virginia should have seen, or at least her parents should have seen, that there's a problem. No adult is going to ask a kid for something. If, as some of you may know, I make films. If I need to make a film, okay, I'm not going to ask a 17-year-old kid or a 13-year-old kid to help me with a film. They know nothing, okay? As sad as it may seem and as rough as I'm giving it, that's the truth. Kids know nothing. So predators are the ones that always look at a kid and say, oh, you want to be a chef or you want to be a filmmaker someday? Great, come work for me and I'll have you making films. No, that's not how things work. You pay your dues. So when someone gives you a story of, oh, I could have you directing a film tomorrow, something that's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. Let me continue by saying that there is nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with teaching our kids how to be street smart. We have parents too much that want to keep their kids, keep them a kid. A kid can still be a kid and still know how to do things. It's very horrible that some people go through life thinking that, well, if you teach your kids certain things, then that's removing them from being a child. No, it's not. It's protecting them.
So I'm not I can't do this, professionally. And she said, no, don't worry about that. You just come over for the interview. If he likes you, we can get you educated, we can get you certified, you'll be a real masseuse. And you'll get to travel and see the world. And she made it sound like it was a dream come true.
And that's what you have to watch out for.
And it wasn't.
I wonder what was going through her mind.
No, I was gullible, I was vulnerable, and when somebody just offered you a dream, I wanted to be a massage therapist and they didn't care that I wasn't educated, and they're just philanthropists helping people in need.
See, we as poor people, we don't have that shit.
And I ran over to the tennis courts where my dad was working.
Okay, here we go.
And I was so excited. I said, Dad, you're not going to believe what just happened. This really awesome lady just came up to me and offered me a job. I have to go for an interview tonight. Can you drop me off?
This is where the dad should have said, no, I can't drop you off, but I could drive you there and stay.
And he was happy for me. He was really excited. So he said, yes, of course, I'll drop you off.
Mistake.
And we got to the house, Jeffrey's house on El Brillo Way in Palm Beach. Big, beautiful mansion.
Here's where I'm going to have a lot to say.
So my dad and I knock on the door, and Ghislaine Maxwell answers. And, she shakes his hand and introduces herself. And she said, "Don't worry, your daughter's in good hands.
You damn right she is.
We'll make sure she gets a ride home tonight, and thank you very much." So she didn't invite him inside. She didn't do anything like that.
Parents, please. When you're a kid, when you meet a friend for the first time with your child, you gotta meet the parents. You gotta meet the people. You gotta go into their house. You gotta be nosy. You gotta be a snooper. You gotta be, Inspector Gadget in that motherfucker. People just don't get that. You just can't let someone come along and say, "Oh yeah, we got your daughter. We'll take care of your daughter. Don't worry about anything." No, I need to meet you. This is an interview. Never go to, first of all, let me say this. Never go to an interview that is at someone's house. I'm going to tell you guys a story. I went to an interview one time to be a graphic designer. And the interview was at this guy's house. And I was like, nope. I knew right there and then I wasn't going to get the job. But what it was is, it came highly recommended for a friend, my expertise in graphic design. So I said, okay, I'll hear this guy out. Maybe he's got another office somewhere else. So it was a friend of a friend. So that's the only reason why I went to the interview. And get this, guys, if you want to know, I'm an Adobe person. Everything I do is on Adobe. If Adobe had toilet paper, I would wipe my ass with that shit. And this guy was talking about programs or apps that I've heard of, but had no interest in learning at that time in my career. And I told the guy, he asked me, one of the questions he asked, "Are you willing to learn other apps?" And I said, absolutely not. And the guy still hired me. So that's how you know, it was a problem. But of course, I turned down the job. But never go, when you go to interviews, you go to offices. You don't go to bars. You don't go to strip clubs. You don't do any of that. All interviews are done at the person's office. Always remember that.
It was just at the door. "We'll take care of her," in my own words.
Yeah, they'll take care of her. How'd that work for you? If her dad would have went inside, okay, and you can look this up. I'm not going to show you videos proving this. You can look this up yourself. But if her dad had went inside, he would have saw naked pictures of different women. He would have saw that you have to go through the guy's bedroom to get to where the massage parlor is. Oh crap. It should be done in the living room. I am a person, not bragging here, but because of my insurance that I have the ability to have massages, and the insurance pays for it. Every time I went to someone's home or that person came to my home, it was not done in a bedroom. It was not done anywhere but in the living room. That's how a professional masseuse is done. And she's going to later on in this interview say when she walked in, Epstein was naked. And it's okay. She was a young girl. She didn't know. But her parents should have known that, yes, you have to get naked to get a good massage, especially when there's oil involved, right? But that person is covered at all times. That's how a professional massage is done. But what I really like to know is what she thought about Maxwell. Her father was a disgrace, and so was she.
Not at all. Not at all. She came across as like a really smart, polite, posh. I mean, if anything, she came across very posh. I didn't have any worries. I thought she just cared about helping people in need. And
now, bitch.
The first instance with them, I'm telling them my life story in hopes that they would take that into consideration when, if I get the job or not.
Never, ever tell strangers intimate things about you.
And knowing that, this would mean the world to me if I could get a massage certificate for being a real massage therapist. And I really was hoping that they could see that, I have gone through a lot at this point in my life and I really need help. And instead of,
And that's why I said what I said. Never tell strangers intimate things about you.
instead of them helping, it kind of ticked all the boxes for them to do what they did and get away from it. It was the vulnerability that they looked for in people.
So, Virginia, do you think that's why you were targeted?
That's why I was targeted. That's what made me so easy, I think, for them to use me and abuse me the way that they did. And I didn't know anything about them.
Okay, bitch.
I mean, looking back now, obviously as a mom, I wish I could tell that child to run away and run fast, and never trust anyone inviting you to their home to offer you something amazing like that until you know who they are. You know what I mean? Like, as a mom, I would have just told that girl to run, run, run. But I didn't, and I pleaded to the kinder side of human nature, and that's not what they were. They were not about that. They were.
It's really good to hear us say that, and I hope that people are listening and they're learning, because that's the truth of it. It's not about being pessimistic. That is the truth of it.
You know, guys, I really have been through a lot in my life, and it would mean the world to me if I did have this opportunity to get educated and become a real massage therapist. And
again, don't tell people intimate things about you. Again, I'm gonna say it again, guys. There were some funny parts about this interview. It doesn't mean that I disagree with anything Virginia said or that I'm making fun of her in any way. That's just for entertainment purposes only. But we truly have to learn to trust people when they say things. And I hope that her family is pursuing the things that she was trying to do as a person. Because this lady did not commit suicide. She was murdered. My guess is it was the people who she was coming after for what they did to her. There's a video. I wasn't able to find it, but there's a video, I believe, on Facebook. Virginia telling people I'm of sound mind, and if anything happens to me, I have no urge or reason to want to kill myself. And then a couple of weeks later, she ends up dead? No, I'm sorry. It's too much of a coincidence for me. It's like when you read all those stories of the women who write somewhere in their diaries or whatever, that if anything happens, or they write letters to people, and if anything happens to me, my husband did it. It's too much of a coincidence, in my opinion. So be sure to subscribe. All right, help us get to 1,000 followers. If you like this long form, let me know. I'm gonna dedicate this video to SK, Tully, and Pico, who have been really pushing me to come back on and bring my live feed videos back online. So thank you for your support. And again, like I was saying, be sure to subscribe. Comment, always comment. Let me know what you want to hear. Let me know what you want to talk about. Ask questions, share, and help us get to 1,000 followers, all right? Have a good day.